I'm Dana Publicover,
And I'm Ross Chapman.
and we are go-getters.
This is a podcast about ambitions and all the shit that gets in the way.
What's getting in the way for you this week?
Good question. What's May the 4th today? So a lot of my morning was looking at any Star Wars stuff. Google's got a big takeover at the moment.
I don't
Google.
know what are you talking about?
It's May the 4th.
Like the anniversary of Star Wars?
No, it's like May the 4th be with you.
Oh, gosh. I feel like I should know this.
I feel like you've
Does everybody
out.
know this?
Not everyone.
Okay.
So
hopefully someone else just learned it listening to it. Wow. Okay. So it's Star Wars Day. I get it.
I'm not a huge, over-the-top, massive fan. I'm just recognizing it in popular culture.
That's how I am about Christmas.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to start the timer. Tell me about your life.
Yeah, okay. I've recently set up a little home cycling setup because the weather is ridiculous at the moment. It is stormy, it is wet and windy, and that's not going to help me get any better. So I've set up a little setup on a program called Zwift. If anyone's heard of it, it's like a cycling simulator. There's truck simulators, there's train simulators. This is one to exercise in front of rather than kind of sit back and, chew on your fingernails. So I've set that up, and my goal is to hack my way into a virtual racing team, because I could not do this in real life. I would just crash out on the corner, so I'm going to use this opportunity to try and hack my way into a cycling team.
So when you say hack your way onto a cycling team, so you're sitting in a stationary bike, you're looking at a screen that's simulating cycling.
Yeah.
And how's the hacking? How does that factor in?
The hacking would be, because you're on a stationary bike, you don't have to worry about turning or other riders around you. You just really need to focus on pedaling, and that's it. So just doing that and lots of that over the next few weeks, I think that's going to help me get accepted into the local team. And they're local to where I live, so that when we're able to meet up in real life, then maybe I'll do some real races.
And they'll be like, wow, you're so much faster stationary, Ross.
They'll be like,
you don't have to worry about turning.
You're slow in real life. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And this all came from another reference to a previous episode, living vicariously through my children. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get my son into the local coaching team. And as a proud parent, I thought I could try and get into the team as well.
Wow.
So, yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm doing. How about you, Dana?
Okay. So kind of living vicariously through your children, but also just being super impressed by them. So Henry, one of my twins, he's almost 4. He notices branding. And I'm just like cavelling all over the place. Like, I could not be more proud of this kid. We're like walking up on the train platform, and he sees the back of the grocery store. And so in the grocery store font, it says some stuff in German about what they have. And he goes, "Look, Mama, it's the grocery store words." And I'm like, prodigy, savant, art director, amazing. So then they notice that their school, which is really like the branding for their school is awesome. And it's a chain, so they have other locations. So he goes, "Look, Mama, a school bike." And it had it was like the school logo and whatever. And he goes, "It's the same picture from the school." I said, "That picture is called a logo." So now he's going all around and he points to ads and he goes, "Is this a logo?" And I'm like, "No, that part is the ad content. This is the logo." And so he's like, I feel like I'm kind of like forcing him to be really interested in it. But he pointed out that, so the school gave them balloons, and all of the balloons had different colors. So the logo was in different colors. And he goes, there's a pink logo and a blue logo and a green logo and a yellow logo. And I'm like, yeah, these are secondary logos because this is the primary logo. And I'm trying to explain it. And so his brother comes over and he goes, my balloon has a yellow logo. And Henry turns to him and he goes, that's a secondary logo.
And your children are aged
Almost 4. They're 3
almost 4.
and some change. Yeah.
That's great.
And so when he says logo, he says wogo.
Okay.
Wogo. It's a secondary wogo. Cool.
That's
10 seconds to
amazing.
spare on that one. Yeah. Super, super proud mom moment. So we're going to start watching Mad Men next week, see what happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Will they get everything?
I'm not going to actually let them watch Mad Men.
Okay. Didn't know how progressive a parenting style you had.
I think you know by now. Yeah. Right now, my parenting style is mostly just tablet time and sandwiches for dinner because American sandwiches for dinner, as my German friends have told me. Yeah, because Jim is recovering from his surgery, so we're keeping it pretty light over here. Just keep the kids happy and quiet. Let's move on to tool time. Tool talk.
Okay.
Tool time is the
tool time. And what are we talking about this time?
I thought we should talk about Canva. What do you think?
Canva. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm quite a late user of Canva, but I think you've been using it for longer.
Couple of years, yeah.
Years,
off and on,
right?
Yeah. Early adopter here. So Canva, for people who don't know, is a graphic design drag and drop, really, really easy to use web-based software. They have a mobile app. It's mostly for doing really fast social media graphics. They've added all of these wonderful features where you can create a brand suite. So you have your logo, your WOGO files, as it were, and your secondary WOGO files, and also your and we've lost Ross. And also your brand colors. You can have, I think, your palette and all that, and your fonts, which is really great. They let you upload custom fonts now. So before that, you were kind of just trying to get as close as you could to your regular brand. So it was never going to replace your Adobe Suite, your Creative Suite, etc. You still can't draw. You can't create things. So every graphic you create, everything you build has to be a composite of existing shapes. They have a really great clip art library, really great stock library, etc. So for the money, and I'll say the pro account is 10 a month, although if you threaten to cancel, they'll give it to you half price. So pro tip, try to cancel it and they'll give you a 50% discount, I think, for 6 months or something. So the price is right. It's cheaper than the Adobe Suite. It's easy to use if you're not going to dive into Adobe Suite, and it just really lets you create a really nice brand look for your Instagram posts, your YouTube, what do you call those things? End screens, load screens.
Yeah, intro, outro kind of things.
Yeah. And like I'll use it for proposals just because it's really hard for me on the go to make an adjustment to a client proposal. So I can do it on the app. It's already got my fonts and colors in there versus trying to go home and load up Illustrator, InDesign, do a proposal, make a change, and send it out.
Gotcha. Do you use the brand kit function in it? Like you can apply your brand to lots of different artifacts.
So I would, but I don't currently have a brand. And this is part of my work talk too. So we'll talk about that later. But
okay,
I've got a handful of colors that I like and some fonts that I'm trying out. And I don't have a logo, but I have like a really cool shape. We're doing this forever now.
You're going to need a glossary or something. Like right? Highly referenced terms.
I'm going to go in front of a client and say it like that, and they're just going to think I have a problem.
You need a new logo?
New logo. You have a secondary logo. You know, primary. I can't even say that. So I have some really cool open source illustrations from Pablo Stanley that I really love. And I talked to a friend of mine about doing some custom illustrations for me to kind of
Awesome.
populate that. Yeah. But no, I don't have a brand right now. And it's really, I've built everything without it. We'll save this. We'll save this conversation for the work section. Anyway,
Okay, cool.
I think Canva is a great alternative to Photoshop and it's faster.
I used Canva we used it for all the designs for this podcast.
Yeah, the
And I
podcast
also used
cover.
the animation feature for the kind of animated bit in the YouTube. So yeah, it seems like a really awesome tool. And I like web tools. I like that you can
Yeah.
just load it up and you don't need to worry about updating. Sketch for me always got really boring because every time you loaded it up, it wanted an update. And you're like, I just need to get from brain to canvas. And I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
Canva helps that.
It totally does. And the templates are gorgeous. Oh, they're so well designed. Yeah. Cuz I'm a non-designer. I feel like I would describe you as a designer. I'm a non-designer creative person where I know when it looks good and I know that I can never get it that far alone. So templates help me. And sometimes I see a template I'm like, "Oh, I could do this and this and this to it and make it my own." That's the extent of my design.
Hmm. Yeah. Shout out to Canva. I believe
Yeah.
Canva is valued at a really high number.
Is
I
it?
don't know what it is, but yeah, big money.
Okay, let's speculate. Who would buy Canva?
Well, Adobe would buy it and ruin it.
Yeah. So Adobe has Adobe Photoshop Express. Have you used that? It's not
No,
Canva. It's cute.
no.
Um
Mm,
it's so limited. And for someone like me, and again, non-designer, but I do a lot of work that involves design adjacent work.
mm.
Um, I will never be able to get rid of CS Suite and replace it with Canva. I think they're partners.
Yeah. What's the critical thing in the suite that you can't do without?
Background isolation. Now Canva does this really well, but I want customization on that.
Yeah.
And I also come from a background in photography and I want really specific photography editing capabilities. You know who would buy them? Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
It makes
good.
a whole yeah, why hasn't Instagram bought into any of the creator tools? They just
They want to do it themselves, but then they take too long to do it.
they should just buy Instagram should buy Canva.
It takes so long for them to roll out a feature. It's unbelievable. I don't know what
Do
they're
you,
doing over there. Let me tell them
another
how to run their
contender?
business. Who?
Yeah. Another contender, I'd say MailChimp.
Chapman, you've nailed it. That's who should buy them. Oh, that's
MailChimp
great. MailChimp's
are
templates are hideous.
and they're also getting into websites and
Their
I don't know
landing
what
pages are great.
their play is. I think it's like a email first commerce kind of platform now. It's not just email that they do.
They market themselves as a CRM, but they absolutely do not function as one. Everyone that I know is using,
CRM.
they're
Yeah.
using MailChimp and a CRM.
Yeah.
Do you know though their landing page building tools and their new layout tools, if they were built like Canva, they would be so much more intuitive and they would be so much faster.
Yeah.
Are you
Okay.
using MailChimp?
No, not on anything at the moment.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk about that one later then.
Yeah, that's a good tool. Cool. Okay.
Canva's great, worth the money, won't replace Creative
Yeah.
Suite. Perfect. Well, with 2 minutes to spare, let's move on to work talk.
Dana, what have you got for our work section this episode?
All right, I'm starting the timer. So, I sent you a message last week and I said, I'm really excited about my topic. And you tried to wear me down and get me to tell you early, but
You wouldn't tell me.
I know I wouldn't. And I'm so bad at surprises. I'm
What
so
a
bad at
friend.
secrets. I know. So, but I know you're going to be as excited about this as me. And I also want your help on it.
Okay. Sounds fun.
So let me set the stage. So reinvented, launched a freelance solo business back in March. Okay. We're in May. Fully booked. Really not any kind of availability right now for new clients. I sold out of necessity. I sold fast. I sold without a website, etc. So, like I was saying in the Canva discussion, my branding is kind of lacking. I don't have all the pieces. I launched kind of without all of that stuff. Okay, so I'm sending over my last proposal, and I'm thinking, I hate this. It's not that I hate the work. It's that I hate the sales experience, which is ironic considering that what I'm selling is a sales experience design.
Yeah.
So I'm helping clients craft all of the touch points and communications and even the tools they're using and the way that they're doing those from front to back, start to finish with new clients. So even up through lead generation through onboarding. And I realized that I hate the way that I'm doing it. And it's been fine because, like I said, everything was sold really fast. I sold it without having to do this. But now I want to take this time and I want to reinvent the sales experience.
Mm-hmm.
So even the way that proposals are sent and invoices are received and processed, I want to get in there and like disrupt all that.
Cool. What would you say are the key pain points? Like, what is it that you're like, oh, this isn't on brand for me?
Okay. So contracts and proposals. I think we've all pretty much evolved to doing contracts and proposals the same way. And in my proposals, I use really clear language. I use limited options. I do all of the things that we've evolved over the last several years and decades, I guess, to do better. The pricing is really clear. When I think about how, like, I present the proposal, they sit with it, they come back, they say yes, they say no, they say, can we do this and add this? Can we do this and subtract this? I think there's a better experience there. I don't know what it is yet, but I think there's a better experience there, and I really want to dig in and experiment with it.
That sounds really cool. I think you're on something there. The current sales process, especially from our industry, is there's a lot of ambiguity. It doesn't feel like it's a consistent approach all the time.
Right.
It feels like there's an area of flex, and we talk about margin, and it doesn't feel like it's a modern sales process designed for the human. It feels like it's designed for financial departments and lawyers.
And if you think about it, that's who it needs to be designed for.
Yeah.
And the person who's receiving the proposal, if you're doing B2B, if you're doing, company to company, the person making the decision isn't the person necessarily experiencing the project. They're also not acting on their own free will and volition. So if I want to create this like VIP concierge style onboarding process in business, is my customer going to experience that, or is it going to be wasted on the legal and financial department? Not that it would be wasted, but you know what I mean. They don't care how they experience me, and they receive my invoice just like anyone else. So I don't know. I've got a lot to think about, and most of the people that I work with are agencies, and many of them are on the smaller side. So people are wearing many hats, and I notice that I take on the role of supporter and shepherd and therapist and many other roles just because of the way that we're interacting and how emotionally attached people in small businesses are to the work they're doing, which is great. But I think there's a way to deliver like a closing and onboarding and prospecting experience. Yeah. So I don't know. I want you to work with it on me because I'm excited about it.
I see enhancements to the existing process, but I don't see a redesign. And that's, I think, what I'm most interested in. I think Fiverr has shown how you can do consultant type agency work, but still give you that visibility of process and what you're getting,
Yeah.
but in a different way. I think we're talking about high value engagements. And we also know that over time, our pricing's coming down.
Right. Sure.
I don't think we're doing, 100,000 jobs all the time. I think
I'm not doing those any of the time.
no.
Yet.
But yeah, I've seen enhancements to the process. So I know that instead of writing a proposal, someone would either run a workshop to go through the proposal or build the proposal with the client, or they'd create a video in terms of a pitch to the client. But these feel like enhancements because
Yeah.
what they're doing is they're explaining something that's very ambiguous. What would make more sense is you've just removed the ambiguity from everything, and you say, this is our process, kind of like selling a design sprint. This is the process. This is what you get. This is how long it is. This is our standard terms, and this is how much you pay, and either through Stripe or can you, the agency goal is to get people on retainer because you can have a little more of a consistent cash flow situation. But everything I've just talked about does feel a little old school.
It does. And so for the more open-ended consulting type, so I have my productized services that are packaged, and those they vary or deviate very slightly based on the needs of the customer, which I'm finding out in our onboarding workshop or in my sales call in general. But I am doing scoping workshops for the more open-ended consulting, and we are building that scope together, and then I formalize that in a proposal and send it. What I don't want to do is build some kind of dashboard or tool where people need to be onboarded to the tool, onboarded to the process, and it's like a project tracker kind of thing. I don't want that.
That's old school again.
Yeah,
I've
I want an
seen examples
experience.
of those. Yeah.
I don't want Jira.
Yeah. No. And agencies providing tools for clients is a hard one to go with. I've brought clients on using Basecamp or something like that, and everyone just reverts back to email. I think more recently it's got a bit better where you might create a Slack channel and you can have conversation, but still you have to get through their kind of IT procurement to get there. So it does feel like it is up for disruption. I think few are doing it because the old ways give them the leverage on margin, and it feels like it's the thing that they don't think to redesign. They think a new marketing campaign or a new value proposition or a new cold email technique, that's going to bring them what they want.
Right.
But I think it's the bit that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity there to redesign an experience a lot of people are having in a way that makes it beneficial to both the provider of the service and the receiver of the service. I feel really strongly about that. Yeah. But I also know that like the sales experiences I'm creating for these clients, while largely communication based, I'm starting to address that. How are people receiving the invoices? What is the experience like when you are told you have to pay? And I'm having them dive deep into that service design. And it's one of those, the cobbler's children have no shoes, like I still don't really have a website I'm happy with. I still don't have branding I'm happy with. And these are the things I'm helping other people finalize. So it's just, I don't know. It's just something that I'm thinking about, and I sent out a lot of proposals the other week, and I just thought every time I sent it, I'm like, well, this is why are we doing this? Why are we doing it this way?
Yeah, I think it's right for disruption. I think of some of the other services that I engage with, and I know when I have people coming around my house to help me do something, that process has been completely different. I
Yeah.
found them online. I don't know how much it is, but I know that the task I want is very important to me. They come with a free consultation or estimate, and then the latest one I did, they said, if you want me to go ahead and do it, I can do it now.
Mm.
It is £200 or something, and they do it right in front of me, and then I pay with my cards on their kind of 3G enabled tablet. So, I never see the invoice. I see the amount that I have to pay.
Mhm.
I never see a proposal. I see the service that I want to buy. It just feels like a completely different experience.
I think it's a lot easier to sell rug shampooing than it is sales experience design, for example.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you said free estimate. Let's talk about free estimates for a second, free consultations. Is there a consultant out there who charges for estimates such that we would have to designate we are different? We give free estimates.
I think even in the example of free estimates, people get that time back in the project at the end of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's like
Yeah.
hotels that had color TV in the 90s. Like we have color TV. Yeah, obviously, it's the 90s, not the 50s. Free estimates. So, free consultations. I know a lot of people that put on their website, their call to action is book a free consultation. Book a free 30-minute call with me, etc. I've done it, you've done it. We've all that's been a call to action. Is that a high converting call to action in your experience?
I don't think so, because you sound like everyone else, and
Exactly.
it doesn't feel. We've talked previously on other episodes about the kind of click funnel of
Ugh.
sales processes.
Uh-huh.
I mean, a quick hack that I would do is, instead of having a free consultation, I would make that into a LinkedIn Live and use it for content. Like, just a tiny little marketing hack.
I like
But
that.
nothing is free and everything is valuable. So why not convert those free consultations that no one gets any benefit from apart from the person that might buy from you, that you could just use for a more general thing? Maybe you can actually have a regular slot
Hmm.
and do these kind of. I know some people do like open surgeries, like come with your problems and we solve them.
Yeah, I love that.
That makes more sense as a content creation play. I know
Well, a
that's tangential,
book a
but
call with me is a huge ask.
it is. And again, it just feels the same as everything
It
else.
does.
I don't feel like I want to be different in the market, as I think you do.
Mhm.
And that means that we don't say the same things that everyone else does.
And sometimes that's really hard because I'm trying to think like I'm writing a contact form and I'm trying to write the copy that goes above the contact form. And it's like, fill out the contact form and I will be with you in 1 to 2 days. It's like there are no original ways to say these things anymore. And there are things that as consultants, as business owners, you kind of have to have. There's a rigor that you have to have them on your website. So I think there's a struggle between trying to sound like nobody else and also trying to create an intuitive experience using the language cues and visual cues that everyone has been trained by the web to follow.
I believe in products solving a lot of problems. I think sometimes it's about the brand of the expert, so it's not necessarily engaging in a product. But yeah, to add on to the previous idea, I think a fully digital, say, design studio should live stream all day, every day, and that demonstrates what they do. That is showing the process. I think the challenge of that means that everything is engineered for the end customer. And yeah, I like that idea. I might try that one day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I think that's great. I think that's a really good call to action.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's a good idea.
my my plan is to get my husband healed, move, settle into my lovely new office at home, which I'm very excited about. It has big bright windows. And
Have you got
then
your own room
I
for it?
do. I do. I have
Oh,
my own room. I know. And there's kind of like a troll hole in it, like a little cavern closet. So it's
okay.
two rooms, but you enter one and then the other one is kind of a big closet. And
Okay.
originally we thought, oh, that will be Jim's office. But there's a basement space that we have, and it's a very clean basement space. It's a very dark basement space, and it's going to be a very cool basement space come summer.
Hmm.
So we're kind of thinking that could be what the realtor referred to as a manhole. I'm going to say man cave.
Think they meant man cave.
I think they meant man cave. Yeah. So the husband office downstairs. So that means that I get the closet too. So anyway, gonna get settled in my new office, and then I'm
Amazing.
gonna take that wall and I'm gonna start mapping out my experience. I'm gonna figure this out.
Got it.
It's a juicy problem to dig into. It's exciting.
So, have you said that you've accepted enough bookings that you can't accept anymore?
Until like end of the summer. Yeah,
Okay.
which
And
is awesome.
how do you message any inquiries that come in? Do you essentially say fully booked, sorry, try again after the summer, or
No.
do you just not reply?
No, I still try to sell them.
Okay.
Okay, so this is definitely a topic that I want to explore in the future, and I have more to say about it than this. But the high level is my dad is C-suite. He's long-term, lifelong executive, and he has mentored a couple of people along the way. And he introduced me to one of his mentees who now runs this multi-million dollar business. Super, super awesome person who was kind of following my career as my dad for the last 25 years tells him everything I've accomplished, which is really cute. So this guy knew things about me. He was like, "Oh, and when you ran a photography business, you were nominated for Best of the Knot 2014." I'm like, "I was, yeah, I had actually forgotten that," and this guy remembered. So we're having some coaching calls, which is interesting. He coaches pretty like high level entrepreneurs, people with a couple millions invested in their product, and he told me that I'm playing small, and
What did you take that as? What did you make of that comment?
well, you know exactly what I made about it because I texted you and I said, "You saying I'm playing small? I'm not playing small." Um, no, I think the comment was that I am capable of building a bigger company, and I'm deliberately choosing to just build something I can personally execute.
It sounded, from my point of view, that they were very impressed with what you do and
Yeah. Oh,
the
totally.
kinds of the expertise in the area of what you do. And maybe they were surprised it was only you doing it and having this much of success. I don't know.
That's a nice take.
Yeah, like you're
Maybe.
powering through and doing what teams of 10 to 40 people might do.
He did say that. He's like, "And you have a
Okay.
team of how many?" And I was like, "No, it's
Yeah.
just me." And he was like, I would have guessed you had 5 to 10 people working with you."
Okay.
Um, which I don't know. Maybe he doesn't really understand the logistics of what I do. But
No,
I
I
think
take that
uh,
as encouraging. Do you?
okay. Yes, but I also it just I'm thinking through a lot of things. And, you know, I don't want to be a bajillionaire. I want to have the kind of money where I don't have to worry about things. And I think that's a huge difference. I also really like to buy nice things, but not like super nice things. So I think there's a balance. But I don't think that wanting to do really, really good work and be individually recognized for that and have just enough work to make the kind of money you want to make That doesn't seem playing small in an effort to deliberately avoid something more challenging.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've read the book Small Giants as well,
Oh, I have
and
not.
it's all about small companies.
Oh,
Like they grow to like 10 people or so. They cap at a couple of million a year, and that's okay. It was more about you don't have to shoot for the moon. Actually,
right.
if you balance happiness with a sense of control and be able to kind of change and meander across whatever life throws at the business and people, then that is highly achievable. But yeah, I when you told me about that story, I got the sense from you that you were kind of head scratching a bit and going, oh, well, maybe I could go big, or maybe I'm okay where I am. I just do more of this, and it looks a bit like a tiny dilemma, which is a cool challenge to think about, but nothing you necessarily need to pivot against.
I still don't know. Yeah, I
Mm.
think I think I'm just going to do the work I want to do and continue to choose amazing people to work with and see where that goes.
You know what? I think it shows that you don't need many people with different skills to do the jobs that we do. We can, and that's not us blagging what we're doing. It is just that a lot of the things that we do are using technology, employing some methods, being people. And I think there's a lot of mini disciplines within the world that we do. We don't need to be looking at a kind of factory floor and different skills going
Mm,
across the conveyor belt.
right.
I think this industry is multi-talented, and you're able to gather a lot of skills within what we do.
And recognize the skills you don't have that you need to round out your service and hire support for that. I have an assistant. She's virtual now. She wasn't always, but I have an assistant who I offload things to. And I have a German assistant now because German paperwork is time consuming and I can't do it. And she's incredible. And she's making phone calls for me, things like helping me find a kita for a new school in the new neighborhood for the kids. So that is a way I could use half of my workday, or I can use half of my workday for paid work, and that's is considering that balance. And we went way over the time with that, but I'm fine with it. I think it was cool.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's a great challenge to have.
So, what have you learned or discovered? So, a couple years ago, there was this really great stream on SoundCloud called Poolside FM,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a really great 80s vibe. And then they had a web experience that is kind of like late 80s, early 90s computer interface. And it's just such a cool branded experience. And it would show loops of videos from the 80s, people just hanging out on the beach or at the pool. And it was really good music mixes. It's so fun. It's such a fun soundtrack. And so recently, Poolside FM launched a sunscreen company.
Okay.
I know, it's really weird. And so they had this really great experience where you go on their really cool 80s interface computer website, and it's poolside.fm, and it says, "Hey, we've launched a sunscreen company," and the branding is right on point. All of the copy, all of the language, it's just such a well-branded, really cohesive experience, and I always fall for those. I love them so much.
Mhm.
So you put your to get on the wait list to find out about this sunscreen. This is a cool brand experience. They talk about how they're launching this company. So they give you an 80s style business card with a job title about pool or beach or 80s related, whatever. And you can like shuffle till you get the job title you want. You claim that job title, no one
Like
else
it.
in the world can have it.
Yeah.
And then you put your name in and you put your email. Now you're added to the mailing list for the launch of the sunscreen, and you have this cool shareable business card that of course you want to share the hell out of because it's so fun and cool. And that's how they're building the buzz for the sunscreen.
See, that's a good selling experience.
Isn't it good? That's a good
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you my job title.
Okay, go for it.
It says Dana Publicover, President of the Council for the Betterment of Tiki Bar.
Oh, tiki
It's
bar.
perfect. I love
Yeah,
improving things and being in charge of them. Yeah.
that's so
So
cool.
it's so cool. It looks like an 80s business card. Um, it's just a gorgeous experience. So I think I want you to go on and I want to hear your job title
Okay.
and do it right now. And then also and then I want I don't know, I just want everybody to do it. Like I'm probably not going to buy the sunscreen to be honest. I'm really particular about my sunscreen. But that was such a good experience and such an interesting pivot from running a really cool playlist to launching a sunscreen company. Yet it feels really cohesive with the brand they've built.
It feels brand first,
Mm-hmm.
products later,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like audience, and then what do they want?
I'd be curious to see how much of their audience buys this.
Okay. So I'm on the website, which is quite an incredible experience on its own.
Isn't it great?
Ross Chapman, director of Mango Grove Limbo Tournaments.
It's perfect.
So that's going to be about, running limbo competitions. How low can you go?
I think you should print a box of about 1,000 of those.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Hand them out at parties,
yeah.
near tiki bars.
I think that's going to have more impact. Some people just throw their business card across the table,
Mm-hmm.
but if it actually said something that you weren't expecting, like director of Mango Grove Limbo Tournaments and a cool little Miami palm tree and things, I think that would work.
Okay, so when I was living in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, 2005, it was trendy for wealthy, privileged white boys who were artists, but really they were just living on their parents' money. You can tell I have a lot of feelings about this. Um, they reinstituted the tradition of calling cards. Like you, sir, Sir Bridgerton is here, as it were. So they would put things like court jester or I think somebody had like lead chimney sweep or something. I'm like, but do you actually sweep chimneys? And he was like, no. Like he didn't understand why I didn't get the joke. So I think you cross into that territory.
Okay,
Trendy hipster of 15 years ago.
that's cool. Well, we'll link this in the show notes.
Super cool. Great experience.
I want to share, I'm not sure how much I've mentioned this recently, but I can round it out a bit, that my wife and I have recently-ish gone more majorly vegetarian, and we've tried vegetarian alternatives to things. And last week, everyone in the house just wanted a burger, and our local burger joint, Seven Bone, had a load of vegan burgers that we tried, and they tasted like the real thing.
Like Impossible Burger?
Yeah, kind of. It very much in a brioche bun and just fake stuff. I haven't looked at the ingredients. I know you
Maybe don't.
now have to look at that, or don't. But I just recognize that my brain, if it tastes and looks the same, then it's fine, and I get happy acceptance out of that.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's some. We haven't pushed it on the kids. That's not really our style. They go out and get like chicken wraps and things when they want. And I've probably talked about this on a previous episode. But yeah, we've done that more recently, and it seemed we've even got to the stage now where Steph, my wife, she won't have a chocolate mousse because there's gelatin in it.
Oh.
And so I guess we're starting to look at more about the ingredients of things.
That's
We're
awesome.
pretty good here. We do cook from scratch quite a bit. We do have a mix of meals, and our children are old enough that we can often share the same meal.
Oh,
Some
that sounds like a
nights,
luxury. I
yeah,
can't
no
wait.
plastic plates or anything. Um, but yeah, but also sometimes we just let loose and get a couple of pizzas in, and that's
Yeah.
cool as well. I guess what I'm learning is that this whole experiment started months ago, where for a good month and a half we had no meat and no alcohol, and it completely changed my behaviors around all those things.
Oh, wow.
And like I never thought possible. It really did reset. I now look at a bottle of wine as a bit of a challenge and not one I want to do on my own. Whereas before it was like a total crutch. It'd be
Yeah.
like, this is the remedy to all my problems.
Right. Had a rough day. I've earned a glass of wine or two or
Yeah.
three or four or whatever.
And by the way, I'm not evangelizing my own personal taste, because everyone has their own things. And I'm like, oh, no, meat, yuck. Because I'm not actually, I think I will have a burger now and again, or I
Hmm.
might want a steak from a really nice restaurant in Paris when we're allowed to travel again.
Ooh, with
But
maitre d butter. Ooh.
maitre d' butter.
Maitre d. The maitre d.
How would Henry say that? Mais what?
I don't know.
Sounds more like Jar Jar Binks. Okay. Another Star Wars reference.
Ooh, 2 for 2.
2 for 2. So yeah, I think I am encouraging myself to have more decisions and choices in the food that I eat.
I
So
like that. I
thought I'd share that.
I eat vegetarian meals a lot with no philosophy or intent behind it. I just sometimes the texture of meat to me is a little yuck. There's certain meats that I'm not into, but I really just I really like vegetables. I really enjoy eating vegetables and I can find them filling. So, um often I've found that the vegetarian option on the menu sounds the most appealing to me, like a broiled cauliflower. Oh, that sounds amazing. I would love to have that. I would rather have that than a chicken breast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally
But I don't think
agree.
I could go full veg.
I don't think I could either. We're certainly not going full vegan because we
Oh,
like
God.
cheese a bit too much in
No, I
this
did that for
house.
a year. I weighed like 80 pounds. It was miserable. Couldn't eat
Ah,
anything. I was
yeah.
also poor, though. I don't think you can be poor and vegan
Yeah, makes sense.
because you can't
Yeah.
afford meat alternatives.
But we are trying the meat alternatives that are good, not just the kind of Linda McCartney things, or the kind of things that we used to get that were kind of crusty and not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, expect in a future episode my top 3 fake meat alternatives.
I would love to see some. Your wife's stuff has posted some amazing looking stuff on Instagram that she's cooked. I think she did a bruschetta at some point.
I think I did that, but yeah.
Oh, well, I think she took credit for it on Instagram.
What child? We recently tested the best before date on a vegan sausage. Don't play that game.
The,
Yeah.
oh, I see. Oh,
I thought the meat that goes off, that's
yeah,
bad because
yeah.
of all the things in it.
Uh-huh.
But these vegan sausages that were maybe a week off their best before smelled awful.
Oh,
So whatever they put in it, a lot of soya in this particular one.
oh.
But I have had different alternatives. But yeah, don't chance the best before, even if
You
there's no
know,
meat in it.
the only two times I've had food poisoning in my life were both vegetarian dishes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like what, lentils or something?
One of them was, oh gosh, it was in an Indonesian restaurant. Um,
So they should know better,
well, they
really.
got shut down, I think, and they had some other, I think they had like a hepatitis thing happen after that. This is North Carolina. Um, and the other time, let's talk about ambitions. So let's refer back to our list here. My ambition for last time was to take it slow and to take some time off and care for Jim and the kids and focus on that. And I did mostly,
Mhm.
and it's been weird because housework and childcare. Oh, I'm going to get roasted for saying this. I'm going to be careful. I better tread carefully. It's not consuming all of my time and resources. Like there's
Yeah.
still room in the day. Because normally I do a lot of that stuff in the day and also work. But because I'm not doing any work, I have this little like wedge of time. So reading a lot more books and just kind of like I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with my time. It's weird. I don't know what to do with my time.
Okay. The way you just explained it, do you feel like you will get judged on that? Or
Yes.
like why is that?
Because I think the expectation is that being a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job, which it absolutely is. For me, it's not. But I'm also, let me clarify, not keeping this house spotless, and I'm not scrubbing the oven, and I live in an Airbnb, so there's not really much like home maintenance to do. And also all of my stuff is packed and there's nowhere to go because we're in quarantine. So I don't know. I just like I have some spare time is what I'm saying. And I think if I were really committing to if I were an actual stay-at-home parent, I wouldn't have spare time.
I think categorically you can't be a stay-at-home parent then.
God
Like
no.
who wants that
Oh,
bracket?
brave, saintly people. Jim did it for 2 years.
Mm.
I could never. I traveled so much for work, and he was just like, I got it.
But isn't it an individual experience? Like we all try and do what we want to do or are skilled at. We're not, the stay-at-home thing, that can be a huge spectrum, surely.
True, because I never chose it for myself, and I knew I never would. Never wanted that even a little bit. But he hadn't planned to do that. It was what our circumstances required, and he happily stepped up. I think there are people who were like, yes, this is my plan, and they do it and they do it well, and that's what they want. And there are people who are circumstantially driven to it, and they also do it and do it well. And there it is. I don't know. I think it's a sensitive issue, and I definitely don't want to say the wrong thing.
Okay.
I feel guilty that I have time to read, but also like my floor is sticky,
Yeah. Well, if anyone is unlucky enough to come around my house, they will be, yeah. This is not a, what do they call them? This is not a show home.
You're hearing this sound?
I am now.
It's like a chainsaw.
Okay.
Well, I think that's
okay.
So my ambition for next week is to continue with this, and that's I'm not going to take on anything new right now.
Are you moving next week?
No, it's going to be like 2 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Tell us your ambition, Ross. What is it?
So last week I said I would start sharing free shit from next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't realize was that next Monday was going to be a bank holiday yesterday.
Oh.
All the shit that gets in the way.
That's it.
So I've started today. I shared a little LinkedIn video this morning just before we're recording this. And I aim to share a whole lot more over the next few weeks because I can and I want to.
That's amazing.
So the ambition for this week is to start that. And also between Dana and myself, we have got episodes released now.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a few more to do. We're trying to improve the quality of them. That is going to be a journey.
Yes.
And I mean, they're listenable at the moment, if that is even a verb. But we just want to make sure that we're making stuff that we would want to listen to ourselves.
Exactly. You can find us on Instagram at GoGettersPod. You can find us on Anchor. And we have our own vanity URL there now. I think it's anchor.fm/GoGettersPod. Pretty sure.
You can listen to us on Spotify now that we can be found there, and the Apple Podcasts app, and a few other places as well. I think Google now lists us and a few other unknowns. Yeah.
thing.
Cool. Thanks, Dana.
See you next week.